Alex thought he had cracked the code. Discipline was the key to success, wasn't it? But when Evelyn told him that his discipline was actually his biggest weakness, his entire belief system shattered. Had he been fighting the wrong battle this whole time? And if discipline wasn't the answer, what was? What Evelyn was about to reveal next would change everything. So let's start chapter 3. Evelyn's words echoed in Alex's mind as he continued to struggle with his failed attempts to make real progress in his life. Her challenge, that he wasn't lacking discipline, but was instead disciplined at the wrong things, was starting to resonate, but he was still skeptical. After all, how could all his hard work, sacrifices, and rigid routines be misguided? Evelyn, sensing his continued hesitation, took a different approach. Over the next few weeks, she invited him to her monastery-like retreat, a place far from the distractions of the modern world. It was there, in the stillness of the retreat, that Evelyn began to reveal the hidden traps of what Alex had always thought was self-discipline. "You see, Alex," she began one evening, "the obsession with control is the dark side of discipline. The more you try to control every aspect of your life, the more you start to lose yourself." Alex was puzzled. But isn't discipline about control? Isn't it about having the willpower to stick to your goals no matter what? Evelyn smiled gently, but with a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Control is an illusion, Alex. In trying to control everything, you create resistance. That resistance manifests as burnout, stress, and ultimately, self-sabotage. Your mind rebels against your rigid structure because it wants freedom, not imprisonment. You've conditioned yourself to believe that without control, you'll fail. But in reality, you're making yourself fail by overburdening your mind with constant pressure." Alex listened carefully, but it was hard to accept. His entire life had been built around pushing himself to the limit, working longer hours, eating perfectly, cutting out distractions, and sticking to rigid plans. He had always prided himself on how disciplined he was, how much he could achieve in a single day. But now Evelyn was suggesting that all of this might have been working against him. "How do you expect to be productive if you don't push yourself?" Alex asked, trying to grasp the concept. "How do you get things done without that drive?" Evelyn nodded, sensing the depth of his confusion. "It's not about being passive or giving up on your goals, Alex. It's about creating a relationship with your mind, not a battle. You've been fighting yourself, fighting your natural instincts. The real secret is in letting go of control and embracing the flow. The more you force, the more you resist your own nature. Discipline should work with you, not against you." That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, questioning everything he thought he knew about self-discipline. The idea of surrendering control felt alien, like giving up. But Evelyn's words had unlocked something inside him. Maybe the key wasn't in doing more, but in doing less, in learning to trust himself rather than forcing himself to conform to external pressures. The next morning, Alex began to reflect on his past struggles with discipline. The late nights, the anxiety, the mental exhaustion. It all made sense now. His need for control, his obsession with perfection, had led him into a cycle of burnout. The more he tried to push himself, the more he broke down. "Maybe Evelyn is right," he thought, rubbing his tired eyes. "Maybe I've been approaching this all wrong." For the first time, Alex allowed himself to feel a glimmer of hope. Could there really be another way? Was it possible to achieve everything he wanted without destroying himself in the process? As Alex absorbed Evelyn's words, the weight of the truth hit him harder than ever. His entire life had been built around control, but now it felt like control was the very thing destroying him. Then Evelyn looked him straight in the eye and said something he wasn't ready for. "What if the way you've been approaching discipline has been sabotaging you this entire time?" The battle for his future was far from over. In Chapter 4, Alex uncovers the dark side of discipline, a truth so unsettling it could change everything. Stay tuned.